Hi, I'm Lindy and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a steak au poivre. This is a steakhouse classic and it's a French recipe, but it can be simply made in your own kitchen. So let's get started. Alright, so we need some ground pepper for this, for the steak. So if you have a mortar and pestle, I want you to use that to crush up your ground pepper. You could also use a coffee grinder. If you don't have any of those, you could just use like a regular pepper grinder. That's fine too. So get that nice and fine. And not all of the peppercorns are going to be even, and that is a-okay. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. Okay, now onto the steak. So these steaks have been salted on both sides, and I just took them out of the fridge. I had them in there for about a half hour. Let some of that salt go into that meat. That'll be very good and delicious. Okay, so I want you to put that ground pepper into a dish. So you want a good little coat of black pepper. And that's going to give that sauce a nice peppery taste, which is so classic with steak au poivre. Alright, so this is what it should look like. You can use more or less pepper per your preference. I'll put the recipe in the description as always, but you want to finely dice a shallot. This is going to go into the sauce. And steak au poivre is shallot, black peppercorns, obviously steak. We'll talk about which kind of cut later. And then some cognac, a little bit of stock. I prefer beef stock, but in this case I have chicken stock, and then some heavy cream and a little bit of butter. So it's really delicious. It coats the steak really nicely, and I like to eat this with a salad. So after I prep the steak, I'm going to show you how I make my favorite salad, which is a simple lemon vinaigrette dressing with some parmesan and some little gem lettuce. It is so good. And I eat it at least a couple times a week. So I want to show you how you make that quick dressing at home. Alright, so shallots are going to go to the side. We're getting all the ingredients ready so that when we are ready to sear these steaks, we are ready to go. Okay, so on the topic of cuts of steak, you really can use whatever you want. Typically you're going to find filet or like a petite sirloin on the menu at a restaurant. But I'm using ribeye because that sounded good and that's what I had. Obviously filet is a little bit pricier, and then petite sirloin is hard to find. So really just use whatever cut you like at your house and it'll turn out delicious. Just don't overcook it. Okay, so onto that dressing. Let's make that lemon vinaigrette. So you're gonna need a mini food processor. You could also just whisk this in a bowl, but I find that it has a better emulsification if you use a food processor. So I'm gonna make this just for 2 people. So juice of 1 lemon. This dressing is so simple, but it's so good and I never get sick of it. If you're not a big lemon vinaigrette person, you could obviously use vinegar, like red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, champagne vinegar, whatever you like, balsamic, but I really like lemon. And I think it'll balance really well with this creamy sauce with the steak au poivre. Alright, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. You can use like a half a teaspoon of Dijon in this. It will help the dressing emulsify a little bit better, but I don't love Dijon and I really pick it up in the flavor of the dressing when I put it in there. So you can do whatever you want here. Alright, so with the motor running, you're going to slowly drip that olive oil in until it emulsifies and taste along the way. It's really good. Okay, so I have a bowl of greens here. This is little gem lettuce cut up, washed, ready to go. And then I'm going to shred a little bit of Parmesan and then a little bit of Romano. You could use either or. Romano's a little saltier, Parmesan is a little sweeter and nuttier. I just happen to have both, so I'm gonna use both. And anytime you're making salad at home, dress it right before dinner, toss it with tongs. Let the leaves evenly get coated with the dressing, and if you do it last minute, it won't be soggy. Alright, let's cook this steak. So you'll need a thermometer to see your desired temperature. I am going to use my meter. You do not have to have a fancy thermometer like this, but this is what I have. I prefer medium rare here, but you know, whatever doneness you like. Now, if the steaks don't finish in the pan, we're gonna finish them in the oven while we make the sauce. So turn that oven to 375 so it's ready to go for later. Okay, have all of your ingredients on standby. You're gonna have a pan on medium heat and a little bit of oil. I'm using avocado oil. We're gonna sear these steaks with the peppercorn side down. Okay, while these are searing, make sure you have everything on the side that you'll need for when the steaks go in the oven to finish. So, shallot, I used a little bit of garlic, 1 clove, minced, and then a little bit of cognac, okay? All right, a little goes a long way here, and then don't worry about the alcohol, it is gonna burn off, but it does add good flavor to the sauce. All right, after about 2 minutes, you're gonna wanna flip each steak. All right, starting to develop that nice crust. Okay, once they have a good sear on both sides, I'm gonna transfer to a pan lined with parchment. Finish cooking these in the oven to about medium rare. And then I'm gonna turn down the heat ever so slightly on our nice hot pan here, and we're gonna make the sauce. So in go the steaks. All right, so to make the sauce, we're gonna take whatever fat is left over in this pan. If there is a lot of fat, you can remove, I don't know, enough where there's about like a tablespoon or so. We're gonna add the shallot. I'm gonna strip all those good bits from where the steak cooked. That's gonna add a lot of flavor to the sauce. Now I don't wanna burn the shallot, so I'm gonna watch it really carefully. Saute that about a minute or so. It's looking like it's pretty good, so I'm gonna add in the garlic, and this you really wanna babysit so that you don't burn that garlic, otherwise it's gonna turn bitter. No good. What a waste of all that good sauce. Now you want to be careful for this next part. When you're adding the cognac, don't add from the bottle. That can cause an unnecessary flame. So put it in a little vessel, put it in the pan, and that alcohol is going to burn off, but you're going to be left with the good flavor of that brandy. Stirring around. Oh my gosh. If you could smell this, your kitchen's gonna smell so good when you make this. Once most of that alcohol has evaporated, and you'll be able to tell because a lot of that liquid will be gone, we're gonna add our stock. Again, recipe in the description here, so don't worry about the recipe. And we're gonna add our heavy cream as well. Equal parts heavy cream and stock here. Even gonna add a little pat of butter. Okay, we're gonna bring that up to a simmer and kind of babysit it and watch it and stir occasionally until it thickens. Looks like they are about medium rare. We're gonna let those rest while this sauce finishes. Once the sauce is almost thickened, it's time to take it off the heat, and it will thicken a little bit more as it cools. So if it's a little bit thin, that's okay. Kind of let it sit for a minute or two, and I promise it'll thicken up a little. Okay, so right before serving, I want you to dress that salad. And try not to overdress it. So you can always add more dressing, but it's hard to take it away. Toss it real nice with some tongs, and then add some more Parmesan after you add the dressing.
There's dinner in the yard, out behind the cars. Tonight we're gonna do something different. I will make the things that I know how to make.
This is such a good date night at home meal, or something a little extra special for the people you love. All right, that's a wrap. Join me next time for more simple cooking at home. Oh my gosh, look at that snow.